sometimes I know. Do you always use the same slide technique, no matter how you're playing?
Especially with seventh position, what I try to do, I try to look to the right a little bit and extend it with kind of like the 2 fingers on top, 2 fingers on bottom.
The reason I ask is sometimes when you're coming up, when the slide's coming up, like you're kind of overshooting.
Gotcha.
When you're bringing it, like the pitch goes up and the slide goes up, in those situations, like coming from E to A,
right?
Like you're consistently kind of overshooting, and so kind of the way that I think about slide technique is kind of using more of like instead of like the classical kind of like elbow thing. So thinking about having 1, 2, 3, 4 points of motion with it, and having most of the motion come from the wrist and the fingers, not so much from the elbow and shoulder. It's very much more of a like kind of rigid arm kind of thing, which is totally cool for that, but just as something else to think about. You can think about. So if you like watch videos of like J.J. Johnson or whatever, like you'll see him kind of using this kind of more finger and wrist oriented approach, which will allow you to kind of go faster and also like helps with developing like a muscle memory of being able to kind of throw it up to a position and kind of lock in more. Because you can move it faster, because the elbow just takes so long.
Absolutely. And I think, too, with that is one thing that I've tried to work on is with the elbow and kind of like more of like classical technique, I find that not only like far out, but also when I come back in and like we were talking about the overshooting, my shoulder starts to also raise, and that can also kind of create the...
Right, you get this thing.
Yeah, you get the crunch, and so it doesn't have the great air support and tone that you can project out of there.
Right.
In terms of that. But yeah, so for the slide technique, it's more of just wrist and
It's more
hand.
of a wrist and hand thing. So the motion is actually just like, it looks like kind of just like putting it forward, which to me, this took a while for me to like figure out exactly what you were talking about, but like it's kind of like waving side to side, but keeping your hand like, some people say like throwing a fishing rod or like, I don't know what else to do, but so then it becomes like, the best way to practice it is to use like some kind of like a door or a surface where you can kind of put your elbow up against, so you know that you're not moving your elbow.
Oh, okay.
And then kind of just practice moving the slide between 2 positions using just your fingers and your wrist. So I'm just kind of going from first to third, just kind of. You can see I'm kind of throwing it out.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. So sometimes throwing it in between positions, as long as you're catching it right. Exact.
You kind of get the muscle memory after a while of like exactly where it's at, and so you kind of just practice, first to second, and then second to third, and just trying to get that motion. Do you want to?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Using a door can be a little better because it actually will hold your hold your elbow. But
so if I were just doing the
so
first
you can
to
see it's
third.
like you're moving this all and it's hitting. So you just go first to okay. So kind of
throw
right
more
now,
with a thumb.
Think about putting your hand forward like that. Yeah, no, like turn your hand, not quite that much.
Yeah.
But like, so just kind of take your hand first off and just kind of think about going like that.
Okay.
That motion. So you've got it with your fingers, then you throw it forward and catch it with your fingers.
So,
It's kind of like that. Yeah, and then, I mean, you're holding it right now like all the way up, like with your fingers here. If you think about holding it with the fingertips more, then you can throw it. Because when you're here, it's like a little, the hand won't turn that way, but if there's enough distance here, you can kind of throw it like that. Yeah, you're kind of going like this. You're kind of throwing and moving your arm at the same time, like that. So we're gonna keep the arm steady, still rather, and kind of just turn the wrist like this, kind of like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna practice this. So.
Yeah. That's kind of the motion. So I would just go real slow and just like. So now you're throwing, but you're keeping your arm is still doing the regular old thing, which is totally fine. You're not going to like switch in like 1 second. But, but it's just something to think about in terms of definitely if you're thinking about playing more jazz stuff and doing improvising, whether it's with the brass band or whatever, like kind of having that faster slide technique will let you kind of have more facility.
I'll definitely work on that, and